Hi, good morning, guys. I got another quick video here, something that was on my mind. Group therapy. That's a scary word. People do not prefer to go to therapy with a group of other people. That has been a common theme since the get-go. It still is prevalent today. But different agencies offer group therapy. Now, there's different types of group therapy, maybe the way it's labeled or whatnot. But I'm looking at it as kind of two different ways here. There is a group therapy where it's mainly education. So, group of folks come in. Typically, they're dealing with similar issues, so we want to put people in the same room with dealing with similar issues, and then the therapist provides education. So this is usually a few weeks long, and then the education will be on specific things tailored to whatever the issue that people are facing is. You'll get participation, you'll get questions from the group. You might get personal experiences, but pretty much it is a one-way street. The therapist giving out the information, you taking it and doing what you want with it. Now, this is not as intrusive or making a person be as vulnerable as the other form, because again, it's usually a one-way direct communication. Now, that therapist might ask for responses, might ask for situations in your life, but again, that's usually kind of between you and the therapist communication, with others hearing, not really chiming in. Now, depending on, things can go crazy and people can start chiming in. I mean, there's always a potential there, but when there's an educational component to it, that's kind of what you can expect in that form of therapy there. And that's not a bad way to go, because now you don't have to be as vulnerable as your comfort level entails, but you're still getting some education on what could be beneficial for you. So that's that part. But now you have the other group therapy where it's people are going to tell you their thoughts. People are going to address your issues, the way you come across in the group. You're going to be challenged. That could be scary, and I think that's the vision people have when a therapist might say, well, we got this group for people with PTSD, or we got this group for people who struggle with communicating, or a group of people for eating disorders, whatever. That's the image that comes up is, oh my goodness, I'm in the spotlight. People are going to attack me, and it's very scary. So my thought on that is a group can be very powerful. That kind of group can be very powerful because, well, you got to back up here. Like, you got to have a therapist that is in charge. Okay, we're not going to let things get out of hand. We're not going to let people attack verbally. We're not going to be mean. What we're saying is to encourage and to help others, not just to put them down and to name call or whatever. So if you don't have a therapist that can kind of have command of that, things can go sideways pretty quickly. But with that being said, if if the structure of the group is laid out, the expectations are laid out, the therapist is directive and can cut off the person who is overwhelming the group and talking too much. The therapist can encourage the one who's quiet and never saying anything to speak up. That's, to me, that is a good balance there. But getting back to my point of that can be a very powerful thing for a person to experience, because it's kind of in real time. You know, a lot of it is addressing things that people are saying right there in the room. You know, well, I notice this person never says anything here, and I feel like they're judging me because they don't speak up, they don't have an opinion on things, and so when they're just sitting back watching me, like, I feel like I'm judged. Okay, so you throw that out there, now that's on that quiet person to respond, or they're getting that feedback of, you know, hey, is this how you go about life, is just kind of watching and never really interacting? Well, here's how people might perceive that as being judgmental or whatnot. So that would be a pretty powerful reality check there for someone. Or, you know, go to the other extreme of, you know, boy, every time you talk to someone, it's just a condescending tone, or you just kind of verbally beat them up. Now, if a whole group is saying that to a person, there's some power in that. Can that person hear that? You know, take that and make some positive changes to not belittle people when they speak. When you hear that from a group of people, that you can either get ticked off and deny it and it's everybody else's fault, or maybe you can take that to heart and say, wow, I never noticed that, and that's something that I need to work on. So going to group therapy, there is a little deeper level of vulnerability than just going to talk to a single person. But again, the payoffs of it can be pretty powerful for you, especially if you're not, let's say you're shy, or you have anxiety about social situations. That is a great way to challenge yourself, a great way to step out your comfort zone, and to dive into something like that. So, but again, you know, if you were going to do group therapy, I would ask the therapist or who's ever running the group, you know, some of these questions of, is it educational? Is it group interaction? Can we challenge each other, or is it basically sit there and listen to what you have to say? How much do I have to share? Asking some of these questions beforehand, so you kind of know what you're stepping into. I know agencies like to do groups for many reasons, but you know, getting a few folks together and really kind of forming a bond. We're all in this together. We're all trying to get better in whatever way possible. So let's help each other do that. Can be a good thing. So, but the counter to that, you know, like I said, if you have a strong therapist, and a good group cohesion, good expectations laid out, that thing can be pretty good. But if you're in the group and you find that, you know, the therapist is not really engaging or not really structuring the conversation or the flow of things, and someone's always dominating the conversation, or someone is running off telling your business out in the streets, breaking confidentiality. I mean, you have to judge for yourself those dynamics, and does this seem like it's not really beneficial, or not? So you wouldn't know that really until you're in the group and working through it. But if you do start to see those warning signs, then that would, I would probably say I wouldn't go anymore. It seems like the therapy is all about this one particular person or two particular people. No one ever gets a chance to talk, or my opinion's invalidated, or it seems like everybody's ganging up on a particular person. Those dynamics can happen, but a lot of that can be addressed again with the group, in the group, pointing that out, and with the therapist leading it as well. And you can work through that. Some of that stuff can be worked through, but if you're floundering, if it's being overrun, then I would say that's probably not a good group to be. I'll leave off on one other point with this. So like AA, for example. I've heard the gamut of different AA groups and how they're beneficial to how they're extremely toxic. So we don't want to paint a broad brush on the AA group, because, again, some of those factors I mentioned before, are they at play in this particular AA group? Do we have a leader? Do we have group cohesion? Are we there to support each other, or are we there just to complain and commiserate with each other? That's the groups I hear are not beneficial, is people would just want to come and complain and gossip, and people don't find benefit out of that. So they would leave that group, and I would say go find another group, especially if we have options around. Find another group, because apparently that's important to you. That's a good thing for your sobriety. But you got to find that group that's going to be helpful to you. And so don't just judge all AA groups based on that one group. There's other ones out there. So, okay, thank you for joining. Take care.